You and Wayne had like a kiss thing going on.
Facts. I know you got a child. You probably kiss him. You probably got a son and you kiss him.
Yeah.
You heard me? I always looked at Wayne as my son.
A bizarre request from Young Thug's defense amidst the rapper's ongoing jury selection, petitioning the court to exclude evidence of a ritualistic sacrifice in his RICO trial.
Besides that, you got the Wayne, Drake, Nicki, the Hot Boys. Before that, the Ross, and Cali, all them niggas come from under my umbrella. Every last one of them. I honestly say, I gave Wayne about $400 to $500 million.
Doug just shook the whole internet after dropping a tweet, now deleted, that straight up called out Birdman for what he described as dark, behind-the-scenes industry habits in Atlanta. This time, the energy feels way heavier than fans expected, and people can tell Doug wasn't trying to sugarcoat anything. He hinted that those old ritual rumors linked to Birdman weren't just random online talk. According to Doug, real people who've been in the music game for decades already knew Birdman's name carried mystery, influence, and a level of power that always made folks tread carefully. That tweet didn't appear out of thin air, it landed like a warning message. Now fans are asking whether Doug just opened a door that hip-hop kept locked for years, or if he's trying to shake up the entire system with one bold move. Either way, the silence that always surrounded Birdman finally feels like it's starting to crack. For years, Birdman's whole empire was built on loyalty, strategy, and moves planned so precisely that even the most seasoned artists kept things quiet around him. His circle operated like a private network, and everyone knew that stepping the wrong way around that camp could instantly push you out of the spotlight. But Doug's vibe feels different now. He's moving like someone who's tired of keeping everything hidden, ready to speak on what really happens behind those velvet ropes in Atlanta's music scene.
When Birdman was caught kissing Lil Wayne on the lips, the whole rap world froze.
And when people talk about strange energy or unusual behavior in the industry, they always bring up that one moment, the viral scene that changed the entire conversation forever. When Birdman was seen kissing Lil Wayne on the lips, the entire rap scene instantly froze. It wasn't a hidden clip, it wasn't a rumor, it was aired for everyone to watch, and Wayne himself even spoke on it during live TV. Fans were stunned because the man who built Cash Money's hard, untouchable image suddenly had people questioning what was really going on behind private doors in that camp. Birdman later tried to clear things up, saying Wayne was like his son and the kiss came from love, nothing unusual at all. He explained that Wayne grew up without a father and that moments like that were simply their way of showing care before heading back into the chaos of the streets. I always looked at Wayne as my son, he said, trying to make the world understand that it was about family, not scandal. But even after that explanation, the internet did not calm down for a second. Even with all the interviews and all the attempts to shut the conversation down, the story never disappeared. People kept talking. Some claim Birdman's influence has always had a strange edge to it, saying he controlled artists, locked down contracts in ways nobody fully understood, and stayed connected to street business that went far beyond music.
You and Wayne had like a kiss thing going on.
Facts. I know you got a child. You probably kiss him. You probably got a son and you kiss him.
Yeah.
You heard me? I always looked at Wayne as my son, and I always looked at it like, because I was in the streets, and I thought this might be the last time they ever see me. That's where that shit came from, started from, and I always today look at Wayne as my child. I was his father when he didn't have a father, since he was 9 years old.
Right.
And I love him like my own, and I give my life for him, and I'll take a life for him.
Others believe the whole thing is exaggerated drama, but whether you think it's all real or just noise, Birdman's name still sits right in the middle of that strange blend of power, control, and suspicion that has followed him for years. And when you look back at how Birdman kept Wayne tangled in legal battles for years, projects delayed, money controlled, career moves blocked, it all starts feeling connected. That's why Thug's deleted tweet hit the internet with so much force. Maybe he wasn't just stirring drama. Maybe he was signaling that the long-kept silence inside Atlanta's inner circles is finally starting to crack open. After that viral kiss moment, everything in the public eye shifted. What once looked like family affection suddenly started to feel like straight-up control. The kind that keeps people loyal, nervous, and quiet. That whole father-son bond between Birdman and Lil Wayne blew apart publicly in 2015 when Wayne dragged Cash Money Records to court, demanding freedom from contracts he said were blocking his entire career. That lawsuit flipped their dynamic inside out like never before. And even though they eventually made peace, fans could never forget what happened. Birdman's reputation now carried a permanent shadow, and no amount of PR could shake it off.
At the time, it was impossible to have any type of genuine or real feelings. I was on stage. I was in performance mode. I was trying to think about the words for the next song. Honestly. So I was just trying to make sure he didn't say it at a time where it was my verse and I messed up a line.
But things got even stranger after that because Birdman didn't slow down, not even a little. As the tension with Wayne eased, he put his focus on a new protege, a fresh face to mold, guide, and bring into the center of his empire. And at the top of that list was none other than Young Thug. That's when the whispers in the industry turned into loud conversations and red flags that fans couldn't ignore. Before Birdman stepped in, Thug was already rising fast under Gucci Mane's wing. Raw energy, unpredictable flows, and a sound that represented Atlanta at its purest. He was young, hungry, and ready to carve his own lane, and that made the timing of Birdman's interest feel even more intense. People respected Thug for being different, but nobody expected that level of change. Then around 2014, Birdman launched his Rich Gang project with Thug and Rich Homie Quan, and overnight, everything flipped. Thug wasn't just another Atlanta artist anymore. He became Birdman's new chosen one, the next golden child. Birdman even started saying Thug was the future of the entire game, and fans began noticing something eerie. He started treating Thug almost exactly like he once treated Wayne. The attention, the gifts, the protection, the spotlight, it all felt like a replay of the same script, just with a new star. Birdman executive produced Thug's work, pulled him into Rich Gang visuals, and made it loud and clear to the world this was his new centerpiece. That's when people in the industry really began watching closely. Thug started calling Birdman daddy, and used words like bae and lover inside his own circle, even joking around with Rich Homie Quan.
A bizarre request from Young Thug's defense amidst the rapper's ongoing jury selection, petitioning the court to exclude evidence of a ritualistic sacrifice in his RICO trial.
Then came the visual shift. Thug stepping out in dresses, skirts, and bold fashion pieces, telling fans it was all part of his creative freedom and art, but not everyone accepted that explanation. Critics began connecting it back to those old rumors surrounding Birdman, the same talk that had followed him for years since that Wayne moment. Things moved to an entirely different level when Thug released Barter 6, a bold twist on Wayne's legendary Carter series. Fans immediately felt the tension. Was this Birdman's way of replacing one son with another? Some fans believed Thug was simply loyal to the man who supported him early on. Others believed Birdman was playing a long, strategic game, moving pieces around the board while the rest of the industry didn't even realize they were part of it. Birdman himself claimed Thug reminded him of his younger self, saying he only wanted to guide him, help him with his publishing, and make sure his business stayed clean. But the pattern was impossible to ignore. That same father-son dynamic, those same loyalty tests. Only this time, everything came wrapped in even more controversy, bolder fashion statements, and messages that felt coded to anyone paying attention. Years passed, and even through lawsuits, tour issues, and constant label tension, Thug never switched up. He defended Birdman over and over, calling him family and refusing to let outsiders break that bond. Birdman returned the energy too, doubling down and praising Thug as the future, even teasing another Rich Gang project like the whole cycle was ready to restart again. But here's the real question. Was Thug's loyalty completely genuine, or was he caught up in the same complicated web Wayne struggled to escape from years earlier? The deeper you look, the stranger Birdman's mentorship starts to seem, because just when people thought things couldn't get any more mysterious, the conversations about secret industry rituals started heating up again, the kind people whisper about but never say out loud.
How much he owes? You'll find out when I do the court pay.
Once Thug became fully connected to the Cash Money circle, the symbolism in his music and visuals started catching serious attention. Fans began connecting dots, and it wasn't just for entertainment either. Take his track Up with Lil Uzi Vert. When that video dropped, the internet exploded with theories. It wasn't just a wild, artsy concept. The setting, the imagery, the strange outfits, it all looked like something straight out of a hidden private society, and fans couldn't stop analyzing every frame. You had the checkerboard floors, the heavy shadows, masked figures, and those owls staring straight into the camera like they were guarding some hidden doorway. People were convinced it looked like a coded message, a sign that Thug had stepped into the same secret circle hip-hop's elite have been rumored to move with for years. And then came the wildest twist of all, rumors that jumped from the internet straight into the courtroom.
The Birdman got millions of dollars and still playing on my top. After I apologized to this like I did something wrong, I apologized because kept saying I hurt him. I like I hurt you. You left me. Well, I keep trying to tell this illiterate, ignorant that I was 13, 14 years old, 15. How could you make a decision when you're that young? He's so stupid, a pedophile. Well, he only could see a kid. I was a kid, dummy. You can't even see that. Y'all know, man. Y'all feel what I'm saying? The only person I ever slept with Cash Money is BG. I could go to jail saying that. I was 17.
During the YSL RICO case, prosecutors threw out a shocking claim that one of Thug's associates had supposedly been involved in a goat-related ritual tied to street activity. Thug's lawyers pushed back hard, saying the whole thing was just an attempt to make him look dangerous and strange in front of a jury. But once that claim hit the headlines, the internet ran with it instantly. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about fashion or music videos anymore. People started asking if these whispered rituals had spilled into real life, and Thug's visuals over the years haven't exactly slowed the speculation. Fans have pointed out all kinds of unsettling imagery, upside-down symbols, crying statues, puppets hanging by strings, and scenes that some say mirror dark art styles. He's been accused of mixing religion, rebellion, and symbolism in ways that feel less like simple shock value and more like hidden loyalty to something deeper and more mysterious. The more people rewatched his videos, the more questions they had, and every new visual only made those theories spread even faster. Was Thug following the same blueprint people say Birdman has been pushing for years, or was he just using the media's obsession to keep his name alive? Either way, the symbolism didn't go unnoticed, and just when fans thought they'd seen every angle, another name from Birdman's past suddenly resurfaced. Ms. T, a woman who shaped early Cash Money before the empire exploded. If you don't know her story, it isn't a light one. She claimed Birdman didn't just play business games. She says he pushed her out of the picture completely and even sold off her catalog without her knowing. When fans heard that, the questions came quick. If he could allegedly do something like that to someone who helped build the foundation, what else could be happening behind private doors? Ms. T's story brought every old suspicion right back to the surface. She said she never received her proper publishing rights, meaning her writing, her work, her long hours, her creativity, all of it gone without a fair payout. That claim hit the community hard, and it made people take a second look at Birdman's history, wondering how deep these behind-the-scenes issues really go. That wasn't just bad business, that felt like betrayal. And it hits even harder when you realize Ms. T wasn't some outsider yelling for attention. She was inside the machine from day one. She appeared on BG's classic Chopper City in the Ghetto right alongside Bun B, a legend in his own right. She watched Birdman build his empire from the ground up, and according to her, he cared more about control than true loyalty. Now people are starting to wonder, maybe those whispers about Birdman's strange loyalty test weren't just headline drama after all. Maybe there's more truth hidden in those old stories than anyone wanted to admit. Ms. T wasn't just another background name, she was one of the pillars that helped Cash Money rise from nothing to a full powerhouse. Her voice carried weight, and when she finally spoke out, people paid attention instantly. She called Birdman a terrible businessman and claimed that most of Cash Money's artists ended up broke or locked into deals that didn't benefit them fairly. That hit fans hard because it wasn't coming from a stranger. It came from someone who helped build the brand brick by brick. And the story she told painted a serious picture. Ms. T said the tension inside the label got so deep that one of Birdman's former artists allegedly confronted him in person, demanding the money he believed he was owed.
He was calling out an entire culture that's been swept under the rug for too long. Atlanta carries both the glory and the grime, a place where you can go from the trenches to superstardom, but at a cost nobody talks about.
Imagine things getting so tense inside a music label that someone felt they had to pull up face to face just to get what they worked for. That moment alone had fans questioning what was really going on behind the scenes and how far these disputes truly went. That says a lot about what was really happening behind those shiny chains and luxury cars. It wasn't just business, it was survival. When you line up Ms. T's claims next to everything else, the Wayne kiss moment, the lawsuits, the strange rituals, the loyalty tests, it all starts forming one huge picture that fans can't ignore anymore. Birdman wasn't just running Cash Money, he was operating it like a puppet master. Either you followed his rules or you found yourself locked out of the circle completely. But what makes Ms. T's story even more powerful is that it wasn't only about her personal situation, she hinted at something much bigger, a pattern suggesting the entire system might have been built on the same kind of manipulation. And that's when the focus shifts straight to Atlanta, the city where all these behaviors seem magnified. Atlanta isn't just another hip-hop hotspot, it's the engine of the entire music industry right now. We're talking about $1 billion city with more than 300 professional studios pumping out hits every single day. This is the place that created trap music, pushed R&B crossovers into new levels, and even opened the door for Afrobeat and alt-rap to hit the mainstream harder than ever. Atlanta became the blueprint for every new sound in modern music. But with all that success came the shadows too, because the same city that keeps dominating the charts is also the place where the strangest rumors in the industry never seem to disappear. People whisper that Atlanta isn't just the hub of innovation, it's the stage where all the hidden games get played, where power moves happen quietly, and where the industry's deepest secrets stay buried just out of sight. Rituals, oaths, secret deals, and loyalty tests. All of that is part of the conversation now, and that's exactly what Thug's deleted tweet hinted at. He wasn't just tossing shade. He was calling out an entire culture that's been pushed under the rug for way too long. Atlanta carries both the shine and the grime, a place where you can rise from nothing to superstardom, but with a price nobody wants to talk about. Some people say you give up pieces of yourself to make it big. Others say you just learn to play the game the way the industry demands. Either way, Thug's message shook the whole city because it made everyone question what the real cost of fame looks like in a place built on loyalty, silence, and secrets. And that's when things got even more chaotic, because Thug wasn't finished speaking without speaking. Suddenly, the spotlight shifted straight to his own camp. YSL. For years, Thug had been laughing at other rappers for cooperating with authorities, brushing off rumors, and bragging that he lived by the street code like it was his personal rulebook. He even threw subtle jabs at Gunna, claiming he folded when the pressure hit. But then everything flipped. When an old interrogation video from 2015 resurfaced online, that 2-hour clip showed Thug sitting with detectives, answering questions about the tour bus incident involving Lil Wayne. And once that footage hit the internet, fans went into a frenzy. People immediately started asking the one question Thug never wanted tied to his name. Did he break the same code he preached to everyone else? The clip didn't show him admitting anything wild, but the simple fact he was in that room talking at all had the internet exploding with debates. Some defended him, saying he didn't reveal anything incriminating. Others claimed it didn't matter. In their eyes, just being in that chair already went against the image he built for so many years. The conversation spread fast, and suddenly Thug was no longer the one pointing fingers. He was the one answering them. That interrogation video flipped everything upside down. In that clip, Thug mentioned the name Pee Wee Roscoe, one of his own YSL affiliates, and that single moment sent shockwaves through the streets. Roscoe later received a 20-year sentence, and the internet immediately started trying to figure out whether Thug had just gone against the same code he spent years defending. Things got even messier when Thug told detectives they could keep the line open with the streets, a move many people instantly called a straight-up violation. In street culture, that isn't just a bad look. That's a serious breach of trust. Thug tried to explain it later, saying the footage was misleading and that he was actually trying to protect Pee Wee, not harm him. Even Pee Wee backed him up afterwards, saying Thug was just playing strategy to throw detectives off their trail. But by the time those explanations came out, the damage had already been done. When you've spent years calling other rappers snitches, and suddenly the internet pulls up video receipts suggesting you might have done the same, your credibility takes a heavy hit that's tough to recover from. Fans were divided, and the debates only grew louder. Then things got even worse when leaked jail calls hit the internet and blew the conversation wide open again. In those recordings, Thug and a few others were laughing about Gunna's snitch label, even joking about it with Lil Baby. That moment hit fans differently. The hypocrisy was loud. How could Thug clown someone for cooperating when his own past was starting to look questionable? People weren't just talking, they were confused, frustrated, and trying to figure out if the image Thug built for years was real or just a carefully crafted persona that cracked the moment pressure came knocking. Fans started questioning everything. Was Thug really living the street life he talked about? Or was he just another artist bending the rules whenever it benefited him the most? But this situation goes way deeper than one artist's reputation. This is about the entire culture of loyalty, silence, and survival that runs through hip-hop. Thug's situation is just one example of a much bigger battle happening inside the game. The no snitching rule has been the golden law for decades, especially in places like Atlanta, where the music world and the streets are tied together like family. But now that code is being challenged harder than ever before. Think about it. Every major RICO case, every arrest, every leaked statement, all of it is blurring the line between what's real and what's strategy. If you stay silent and loyal, the culture calls you a hero, but you risk sacrificing your entire future behind bars. On the other hand, if you cooperate to protect yourself, you might walk away legally free, but you lose everything else, your respect, your name, your place in the streets. It's a lose-lose situation that's pulling the whole scene apart, and it's not just happening in Atlanta. The same pattern is showing up in New York, Chicago, LA, and everywhere else. Every city has its own story of rappers caught between two different lives, the one they grew up in and the one they built once they made it. The industry demands authenticity, but real-life survival doesn't always follow those same rules. Artists are being forced to choose between protecting their freedom or protecting their image, and no matter which side they pick, the consequences hit hard. That's what made Thug's leaked tapes such a firestarter. They didn't just expose one artist, they exposed an entire system built on contradictions. The footage forced fans, peers, and even critics to ask the uncomfortable question. If some of the biggest names in rap can twist the code whenever it benefits them, then what does that really say about the code itself? Now the story comes full circle. Thug called out Birdman's strange rituals, hinted at Atlanta's darkest secrets, and now he's standing in the middle of his own storm of snitching rumors and loyalty tests. It's like the whole game flipped on him overnight. Whether he meant for it or not, Thug is caught in the same trap he once mocked, surrounded by whispers, old footage, and narratives that refuse to disappear. Just like that, The Hunter became the headline. And after that footage spread across every single platform, the silence from Birdman spoke louder than any statement. The man who once called Thug his future didn't step up to defend him. No interviews, no explanations, nothing. That silence made people wonder if Birdman had quietly stepped back, or if he was letting Thug face the same public heat that Wayne once dealt with. Either way, the power dynamic between them suddenly looked unstable. The loyalty Birdman demanded from artists around him began to feel completely one-sided. Inside the industry, whispers got louder. Executives and insiders started saying Thug's downfall was the exact warning they'd been talking about for years, a reminder that the game isn't built on love, it's built on strategy, silence, and survival. People inside the circle always said Birdman's mentorship came with a price. Artists close to him claimed he liked creating dependency, keeping rappers close, feeding them fame, then watching how they handled pressure once controversy hit. And to fans, Thug's current storm looked like history, repeating itself all over again. Meanwhile, people online started rewatching everything. The old interviews, the photos, the flashy moments, but this time through a whole different lens. Suddenly, things that once looked harmless started feeling like clues. Birdman's mysterious hand signs, Thug's cryptic lyrics, the way certain Cash Money affiliates suddenly went silent online. It was like everyone finally started connecting dots they had ignored for years. Then came the legal chaos. Court hearings, sealed files, delayed projects, all piling up while Thug sat behind bars and Birdman kept posting like life was normal. That contrast hit fans hard. The man who once called Thug his future didn't seem shaken at all, at least from the outside. To a lot of people, it started feeling like the ultimate betrayal. Another artist left to face the storm alone, while Birdman's empire stayed untouched. But things got even wilder when other rappers started speaking up. Quiet voices in the industry began dropping hints that Birdman's influence stretches way beyond music, that there's a whole system in place protecting certain names while others get crushed in court. That idea took over the conversation fast. And just like that, Thug's situation wasn't viewed as just a legal fight anymore. It became a symbol of how power moves behind the curtains in hip-hop's top tiers. Birdman wasn't being talked about like a regular executive. Whispers said he was operating on a deeper level, building an underground initiation-style structure meant to keep artists tied to him for life. Whether people believed the rumors or not, the narrative had already taken off, and suddenly, Birdman's legacy looked a lot more complicated than contracts and chart-topping hits. Behind the luxury cars, the diamond chains, and the private jets, there's a whole structure shaping who rises and who gets pushed out of the game. And Atlanta, it's not just a city anymore. It's the headquarters of a coded culture where loyalty, silence, and strange rituals blend with fame, pressure, and fortune. Every deal, every alliance, every major cosign somehow traces back to the same tight circle of powerful hands pulling strings from behind the curtain. The truth is, this system goes way beyond Young Thug or Birdman. What's happening looks more like an invisible network deciding who gets to shine and who gets quietly moved to the sidelines. Artists step into the industry chasing dreams, but they end up trapped inside a maze of unwritten rules. One wrong move, one broken code, and suddenly they're out with no explanation. So when Thug dropped those hints online, fans felt it instantly, like he cracked open something that was never meant to be exposed. People are starting to question everything now. The contracts, the symbolism, the sudden disappearances of artists who once dominated the charts. It's like each clue, each strange post, each cryptic message connects to a much bigger story that's been hiding in plain sight for years. And if what Thug hinted at holds even a little truth, then he didn't just start a conversation, he might have lit the fuse for an explosion that could flip the entire power structure of hip-hop. Because what comes next might finally reveal who's really been controlling the culture from the shadows. The next move, the next leak, the next revelation, yeah, it could change everything forever. So don't miss what happens next. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives like this, and tap the next video on your screen right now for even more jaw-dropping celebrity drama and hidden stories from the biggest names in the world. See you in the next one.